Hey everyone, it's Evan. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the last video. If you didn't, check out the description, I'll put a link. But we did a little experiment in the last video where we saw what exactly would happen if your Tesla hits 0% while you're in the middle of nowhere. Well, I want to do another experiment today, and here are the rules of the game. My Tesla's at 50% right now. I want to go 20% out and 20% back, so I should have around 10% left when I get home. I'm going to put it on full self-driving, but I'm not going to put in a destination. So I'm going to take it to some back street somewhere where there's no obvious place that I want to go. I'm not going to start on a main road. I'm going to start on a side street of a side street, basically, and put it on full self-driving and let it churn through 20% of the battery and see where I end up. So come along, let's do it. Okay, as promised, I am in the middle of nowhere, little side street of a side street. I may have to take over at some point because this thing seems to think that I'm on a 1 lane when I am on a 2 lane. But what I want to make sure is that anytime I make a turning decision, the Tesla's doing that. Okay, it decided to go straight. It decided not to take a right just then. It is choosing to go right up here. Interesting. Okay. So I will check back in a minute or two and let you know if we end up heading north or south or which way we go out of town. Okay, this is interesting. It could have chosen any direction to exit town, but we are taking Route 12 north. It's nominally north, it's more like northwest. And so I don't know, we could be on this for quite a while if the Tesla decides to just stay on the main road, or it could turn us off of the main road. I will check back and let you know. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So far, this is really boring. It picked a main road, and we jumped on the main road, and we're driving straight on the main road. It seems like the vehicle has a bias not to turn unless necessary. So it'll be a little while here until I hit a place where the Tesla is forced to make a turn. I'll check back in. This is about to get interesting. What I've been learning so far this trip is that if it's possible to go straight, the car will pretty much just keep going straight. But we are coming up to an intersection where straight is not possible. We have to turn left or right. Right will take us back south. Left will take us north and into the city. It seems like we're going to choose a right-hand turn. I don't know why. Frankly, that's a little bit anticlimactic because we're approximately heading back toward home now. I was definitely hoping this would get me to the Canadian border on full self-driving, but it just chooses right. And I will say, this is the third time that it's picked a right-hand turn out of 3 decisions. So my hypothesis right now would be that it's just going to pick right every single time if straight's not an option. Let's see if we can run into another such scenario and confirm that or disconfirm that. All right, we have a nice big intersection coming up here. Now, of course, I'm 90% sure that the Tesla's just going to decide to go straight through this thing. I don't see why we would turn, but you never know. Let's see what it decides to do. Yep, we are going straight. All right, just by looking at this map of West Carthage, I'm pretty concerned that I'm about to get stuck in a small little clockwise loop if this car decides to just keep turning right when there's an option to turn right at a 3-way intersection. Let's see what happens up here at this stop sign, but I suspect that once we hit the main road here in a few seconds, it is going to turn right yet again. And what that will mean is that we are stuck in a tight little clockwise loop forever. You don't know how badly I want to be surprised and see this thing just decide to make a left-hand turn. I would be overjoyed to know that there was a little bit more mystery to this whole process than just a series of right-hand turns, but I'm not optimistic. Sure enough, we're going right yet again. Yeah, scratch that. I was not thinking completely straight when I said that we were going to be taking a bunch of right turns, because of course not all of these intersections that I'm going through are three-way. Plenty of them are four-way, so we went straight through it as expected, and now we are headed back out into no man's land. Let's see what happens next. Okay, so here's the conclusion that I've come to through this process. If you think about it, when you get to an intersection, the easiest and safest maneuver to execute is sailing straight through it, if that's an option. If straight through the intersection is not an option, then I suppose, at least in the USA, where we drive on the right-hand side of the road, the easiest and safest option at that point would be a right-hand turn. And so it makes sense to me from a safety perspective, from an ease of maneuvering perspective, that full self-driving is not ever going to choose to do a left turn. That's been my experience in the last hour or so, cruising the roads here and there. But I'm curious, two questions for you. Drop any insights you have down in the comments. First of all, can you say from experience that I'm wrong about what I think FSD does without navigation, which is straight or right? Or for those who live in a country where you drive on the left-hand side of the road, I would assume in those countries the defaults would be straight, or if straight is not an option, then left. So I guess I'd be curious to hear, especially from commenters who are not in a country that drives on the right-hand side of the road, if you can confirm this working hypothesis we've come up with, or maybe there's more to it, and I hope there is, but it seems to me that it's relatively deterministic. You could choose where you're going to start, and you could look at a map, and you could pretty much figure out where you're going to end up, because you know how your vehicle is going to treat each intersection. So that is the conclusion that I've come to. Thanks for watching.